Now, New York State's Attorney General has sued to dissolve the powerful U.S. gun rights lobby group, the National Rifle Association. Letitia James accuses the NRA's leaders of diverting millions of dollars from the organization for personal gain. The NRA is subject to New York law because it's registered as a non-profit organization in that state and also conducts most of its financial transactions there. President Trump has suggested that the NRA should register in the more gun-friendly state of Texas. Simultaneously, the Washington, D.C. Attorney General sued the NRA Foundation, a charitable arm of the organization, alleging questionable spending.
For years, the NRA diverted millions and millions of dollars away from its charitable mission for personal use by senior leadership, to award contracts to the financial gain of close associates and family, and appeared to dole out lucrative no-show contracts to former employees in order to buy their silence and continued loyalty.
Well, we can now speak to Claire Finkelstein. She's the director at the Center for Ethics and the Rule of Law at the University of Pennsylvania Carey School of Law, and she joins us now from Philadelphia. Thank you for being with us, Claire. I do want to start by asking you, do state attorneys general have the power to get the NRA dissolved?
Potentially they do if a judge agrees. So it's important to understand that this is a civil suit, not a criminal action. And it sues both the organization and the 4 individuals who were right at the top of that organization for violating the terms of their trust and their fiduciary duties to the organization. So they are accused of having engaged in actions which are also probably criminal, but this is not itself a criminal action. And so one should understand that it is a civil suit, and it will be up to the judge to decide whether or not they think that the organization has violated the terms of its nonprofit status and therefore to dissolve it as a nonprofit. And what that would mean is that any donations that would go to the organization could no longer be tax deductible, but also it is possible that a judge could just rule that the organization cannot exist at all, in which case it might be able to reform in another state, but it would not be able to exist in the state of New York.
Sure. Claire, we've now also seen this lawsuit rapidly followed by 2 others, the NRA firstly hitting back, and then also the Attorney General of Washington, D.C. filing a suit that alleges these similar issues, but with the NRA's foundation. What's the process here? Just how damaging could this be?
It could be very damaging to the organization. First of all, as I say, if they lose their charitable status, they really would, in all likelihood, cease to exist as an organization because they depend on tax-deductible donations, and they cannot run themselves as what is, in effect, a for-profit business with the leaders of the organization taking those profits for personal gain and continue to exist as a charity that benefits from the charitable status and the tax deductions from the United States government, as well as from state government. Second of all, it's really damaging to the organization's reputation across the board. The people who should be angriest about this are the members of the NRA, whose hard-earned dollars are being given to a charity that is not functioning like a charity. So this ought not to be perceived as a move against guns. On the contrary, the members of the organization should really be disgusted that a charity that they've been donating to and sustaining is being run in this crooked way. And so it may have political reverberations because the members of the NRA may choose to donate their charitable, make their charitable donations to other organizations that are actually acting in the interests of the cause that they say they're representing.
Sure. I want to ask you about those political reverberations because, I mean, we also can't forget we're in an election year. Given that this lawsuit could, if I understand it, potentially drag on for quite a long time, might that have any impact on what's already a very polarized conversation heading towards November?
Well, I think that's absolutely true. But what it could, in the immediate future, do is to have major donors to the NRA withdraw their support. And since the NRA has been very active and vocal in supporting political candidates, it could make something of a difference to various races going on around the country, and possibly even for the presidential race, in terms of the credibility of the NRA in its ability to support candidates.
Claire Finkelstein there, the director at the Center of Ethics at the Pennsylvania Carey School of Law. Great